Good evening. I'd like to open the meeting of the Deerfield Planning Board Monday, February 3rd, 2014 at 7:08 p.m. in the municipal offices here in Deerfield. On tonight's agenda, we will review the minutes from the January meeting, any public comment. Then we have some old business, which is about the open space and recreation plan, and they're asking for our support for the update of that. We have some new business, an agreement of services with the FERCog. We have an A&R on 48 South Mill River Road. We have to look at our budget and see what we want to request for next fiscal year. Some folks from the Green Energy Committee, I think, are going to come and have a discussion about a solar project up at the water treatment plant. We want to discuss the housing production plan that's been approved. We can look at correspondences and see if there's any subcommittee reports, and then we can adjourn.
Great.
Any other questions, comments about this? I would recommend that we move the A&R up, maybe, since that person's here. But most of these are pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, want to take like 1 minute to do these minutes
Yeah.
and just get that out of the way, Mr. Chair?
All right. Mr. Chair, I love it when you say that, John.
Like Mr. President.
All right, everybody has the January 6th minutes to review? All four of us were here, so that's good.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Yeah, there's a couple other things that I had on my thing, but they weren't anything we voted on or that important, so this is good. So, all those in favor of these minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained?
400.
400, they were approved. Good, let's do an A&R, and then we'll come back, because actually I was hoping that, are any of you on the Open Space Committee? Oh, no, there's Lynn, so that's good, because I'd like her here for that one. So let's look at this A&R. Do you mind coming up? Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Let me get you a... So I'm sorry, what's your first name again?
Jace. My given name is Raymond. I'm Raymond Jr.
Jace.
You may have known my father.
All right. But on the applicant, Regina, is your
My mother.
mother? All right.
This is her property,
Great.
their house.
So really, it's if you just repeat kind of quickly what you actually, let's use this one is fuzzy sometimes.
It's just that it's a see-through one.
So you just add in a sliver of land there?
Just adding a little sliver to get
the buildings
You want to see?
on the correct side of the boundary line.
So this is at
A survey in 2010 showed that
Mitch?
there's a main part of the garage, it's a two-car garage there, and the back corner of that was over slightly. They're both less than a foot. And then there's an L added to the back, and that back corner as well was less than a foot over the line.
And this is on here just because it's your mom's property.
Yeah, that was all
It
surveyed
was
at the
all
same
surveyed
time.
at the
Yeah.
same time.
That has nothing to do with,
all right. So the request on
It's
the actual application says, what is the proposed changes of the plan? Obtained from Sam and Joan Chickering a pie-shaped piece of property with 0-foot frontage to 10 feet at the northwest corner, so that the garage corners will not be over the property line. All right. So we're not just talking about any frontage, so it doesn't cause any change in frontage to either property.
correct.
We don't have this full property, but it's not going to make this too small.
No, there's a quarter of a mile of frontage down to almost all the way to Conway Road.
Yeah, because I mean, they're not changing the frontage anyway.
Right.
Zero
right.
frontage. So
no,
that's
but if
not-
this was exactly 60,000.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
60,000
no.
feet, then if it made it a foot smaller, it would
Yeah,
be, you know,
good
that's all.
point. Yeah,
that's
your-
all I'm
your
saying.
surveyor actually
That's
should have
all.
put
He should
that
have put
on
this
there.
whole property on there,
That's-
but,
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. If this is, well, wait a second, this is 13?
Yeah, but there's nothing that we can do about that.
Yeah, and if it's
a-
non-conforming, it continues to be
It's a
non-conforming,
simple
but it's,
land,
yeah.
land
So,
transaction.
all right. and-
Roger, did you vote the minutes to be accepted?
Yes,
And you
for,
seconded, John?
oh, sorry, yeah.
Good.
Oh, I voted, he seconded.
Yeah, okay, you voted, okay.
So, the other thing I should have told you is that this application was completed and $100 was paid, and it was checked in by our clerk somewhere. Yeah. I think there was a one back and forth with the surveyor.
There was.
I think it got kicked back for one thing, but then he came back and it's all fine now. So,
So is everything administratively okay there, Mr. Chair?
administratively, it looks wonderful.
Well,
I
then-
don't, actually, a compact disc.
Yeah, I think an email, Casey asked for an electronic
Yeah,
version, and she got it. They had to prod a little bit to get it.
sometimes.
Did they send it or they sent a disc? Did they send it by email? or
Sent an
disc?
email.
Oh, so you wouldn't have it.
Yeah, there's a circle around it, but then there's a check also, so I think
That must,
it came
yeah.
in, and I remember there was an email about it, so.
I meant to ask her about that when I came back, about this CD copy, but I spoke to her, and she specifically said email is fine.
And there was nothing about ZBA, didn't have to look at this.
And I came and checked, and they did get it.
All right. I have no more questions.
Are you good?
Yep.
I'm good.
I'd like to make a motion that we endorse the plan for Regina Boron dated December 20th, 2013.
A second?
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against and abstain, 500.
See what a difference when the
And this is
applicant comes
48
in, how
South Mill
easy
River
this
Road,
can
right?
be.
Prepared.
I'm sorry?
This is 48 South Milton Road.
I know if he wasn't here, it would be like, is he adding this one? Is he adding this one?
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it also, they wrote it right on the thing.
Yeah,
They said
that's
exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, okay.
You
Do
were,
we have,
you were a
black pen?
poster child. We gotta look in here.
Yep. Your
O.N. Junior.
Got a blue pen.
any pen will work as long as it's black, it doesn't have to be This is black.
They're black.
Today's what, the 3rd?
Yes.
Should I start signing at the center? We'll sign all on the same.
Yeah.
It's the second, right?
Third,
Third.
Oh,
2, 3, 14.
okay. What is? Oops. All right.
Then you were the one that moved it,
Second.
seconded it, and who moved it?
John.
This is not the greatest,
Yep.
but
It works.
Well, this is the nice kind of cleanup that we like when people.
Is that black?
Oh, maybe. You just did 2?
No, I did like 3 or 4.
minutes.
There should be.
What's that? You want minutes on 3 of
Yeah,
those?
I'll take a look.
Go ahead.
That
How long did you have?
This one I did, unless I skipped a page.
Oh, maybe you skip that one.
Thought I did.
was- We skipped, when I walked in, you guys were talking about nobody here from the open space and rec plan.
The next item is about that, so you, I don't know if you can,
Okay, yeah.
shed any light on it, but. All right, there's 4, if you guys can sign that one, and then, we're actually gonna just keep.
Just give me Lynn's pen back, that's all.
So that you register. We need another, no, we need 4, is there 4 people on there? Yep.
And you don't sign this one.
There's like 4 of them being signed.
Yeah, so I think we keep 2, and then we'll give you, actually give you back. Oh, good. All right.
And what was your name? Kristen Barker? Okay, just gotta put it in there.
Thank you.
Do I have to put that on this all the time?
There's a place down the bottom to put the names in there of people that are here.
Or
So we
applicant,
only
so I
need
guess
4,
you're.
right?
Yep.
I just signed as many as they did, unless there was one skipped, Lynn, and I didn't.
Can you?
No, we signed the Mylar, so we should be good.
I keep asking.
Oh,
Raymond Bourne, I gotta do it.
oh, I missed one.
Get Lynn up there. Good.
There's
I'm gonna
one.
have to ask your name again, that's Barker's the last name, right? Oh, okay, and what's the first name again? Kristen. K-R. K-R-I-S-T,
Some of these only have 3 signatures.
and it's
Did I miss one?
The first one.
B-A-K-K-E-R.
Yeah, I missed it at first, too.
And you're from which committee again, the Green?
Energy.
Okay.
Dirt.
All right, so there's a letter.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see this.
I think you got some more copies coming, Jay.
Yeah, we're over here.
You get all of them?
No,
I think
no, we
gotta
keep 2.
We signed 4, and we keep 2.
And some of these you might
Done
not
the
need,
Mylar.
but it's better to have them.
Never hurt.
No,
Better to have too many.
paid for them.
Aren't you?
Yes, we did.
Okay, then, I need your help on this one. So,
Yeah.
we got a letter
You want to sit here, Lynn?
Doesn't matter. You just pass
from
Here's your,
Alyssa LaRose at the Council of Governments.
it. Yeah.
On behalf of the Deerfield Open Space and Recreation Planning Committee, I am writing a letter to request support from the Deerfield Planning Board for the update of the 2006 Deerfield Open Space and Recreation Plan. The final draft of the 2014 to 2021 is included for our review. I'm assuming this is the,
Yeah, we had a public hearing and all that.
Right.
I was part of that.
so this letter goes on to say that it was developed by the Open Space and Recreation Committee with the COG. It represents over a year of consensus about important natural recreation, scenic resources in the town, appropriate strategies for long-term conservation of these assets. The process involves significant public input, including a public survey and workshop. It will be submitted to the Mass Division of Conservation Services for approval, but they're looking for letters of support from the Deerfield Board of Selectmen, Conservation Commission, Preservation Committee, Agricultural Committee, Historic Committee, the Land Trust, and the Planning Board. And several of them have already indicated their support. The Conservation Commission, December 19th, said they supported it. Conservation Commission. And the
Selectmen, maybe?
no, not yet. So that's the one. So the Conservation
Commission.
Commission.
Okay, I didn't know, Alyssa didn't say anything to us. If she did, I miss it, that it was going to go, she might have said, to the different committees. The thing is, in the back, there's an action plan, and there are items that make sense for different committees to pick up. So as part of our open space plan moving forward, the group has talked about maybe coming like to the planning board and to the different committees and boards to say, here's the things that we think make sense to do. So it's really, we're not committing to doing any of them in the action plan, it's just in support, because once we pass the open space plan, it's already gone actually for review, and then the edits come back, and then there's a finalization process. But the idea is, once it passes, we're eligible for certain grants.
So you're a planning board member, you were at a lot of these meetings.
Yeah, it
You
was
recommend that
part
we,
of it. Oh, absolutely.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we had public
motion. Do we have a-
process.
Now, this is the update of the open space and recreation, and it came from Alyssa LaRose.
She facilitated, we got funding to work with the COG.
I just
to
want
do
to put
this,
in the
and she
notes
was
who got it,
staff
who
person.
was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's-
So
here's
I've
the
been
letter.
the planning board member.
On behalf of the committee, she's
Yep,
writing
sure.
a letter.
Yep, no problem.
It's not a
Yep.
big deal.
So, I definitely endorse. I make a motion that we provide a support letter endorsing the plan, the open space plan update of 2006.
Any second?
Second?
I would second that motion. I trust in the public process and the committees, and appreciate everybody's hard work.
It's a great plan, yeah.
Any
So,
discussion?
Lynn, you're moving,
That we endorse.
To
Or
endorse-
provide, wait, maybe we provide, she wants a support letter?
Yeah.
I propose that we provide the support letter as
to send a
requested.
letter of
Yes.
endorsement?
Yeah. to
Send,
support.
okay.
I think there's language in that letter there, Paul, that we can use.
Okay, let's use that then.
Yeah, I think she said support letter.
Letter of support.
Yeah, to update the 2006 open space plan.
She's writing to request a letter of support.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're moving to send a letter of support.
From the planning board to the open space committee.
And did somebody second it?
I did.
John?
Lynn moved.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
I'm just going to abstain because I really don't know. I haven't read any of this or anything. I mean, it's not that I'm not against it, just it looks like you got enough votes, so.
401?
Okay,
One abstention. I just want to say, so we'll be coming before this board with just, an outline of the types of things that this board could participate in to make happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we look
Yeah. I just
forward, and I think we need to put it on the agenda, make it a major item, and spend, time on it. But tonight wasn't that. It was just to get it, keep it,
The
I think,
letter.
keep it moving. And again, that's why we have subcommittees and other committees, is that we support each other, because we can't all do everything, so.
And I just, a note for Alyssa was amazing. We had 2 staff people from the COG that were just absolutely amazing and helpful.
Well, hold that thought, because the next thing on the agenda,
Is paying for pet.
amendment to agreement for services of the FERCog for the planning board. As you can remember, I think our original contract was for $7,500, and we want to increase it by $2,500 to a total of $10,000.
For this coming year? or
No,
For this year?
This current year, to get us through June 30th. So the amendment to the agreement is to provide up to an additional $2,500 in FY 2014 for continued technical assistance to the Deerfield Planning Board on a site plan review or special permit application, development of revised fee schedule, to continue to provide general consulting services to the planning board, interim town manager, building commissioner as needed in regards to planning board matters. I'd like to say I think it's extremely valuable, and we definitely get our money's worth. And it really, I think it makes me feel much better about some of the things that we do and the votes we take. So I'm certainly in favor of this. Any other discussion?
I mean, we're a volunteer board. Without her help, it would, yeah.
Yeah. I second it.
And I believe, and it doesn't say it in this, but I believe the money is coming from our
Revolving?
revolving fund, which is why it doesn't require you know, a big chunk
budget.
requires the town meeting vote, but then we also have that fund which people pay their fees into, and that's what can be used for planning board. That's what it's there for.
Except for if we do, which I wanted to ask about, if we revisit the fee schedule, which I'm surprised that came up again, but
Oh, it's
that's
just an
okay.
example.
Yeah,
Just an
okay,
example.
it's an example,
No, no,
okay,
no,
because
not
I say
saying we
that
should.
wouldn't be paid out of the revolving fund because that's just planning board business,
Yeah.
that
Who
wouldn't
moved
be
this one,
yeah,
John? Did you,
allocated.
or did John Waite? Who moved it, who's making the
I-
motion?
He made the motion, I second.
John Waite is, okay.
No, okay.
Yeah. A lot of times chairs don't make motions. I don't know why.
All
I
right,
think we can.
I make a motion that we
Oh, thank you.
approve
Okay.
the requested amount. 500?
Increase it by 2,500.
And who seconded it?
I'll second it. I
Okay.
like to second things. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 4-5-0.
So you made a motion to accept,
To
can I
approve?
reference that letter that you have there?
Good idea.
Who was the letter from?
It's a contract, so it's made a motion to amend our contract with the FERCog
Made a motion
to provide an additional
To-
2,500.
amend our contract
Do we want to say through the
with
fiscal year?
FERCog to add, how, what again?
To add an additional $2,500 in FY 2014.
Additional $2,500
Yep.
to what now?
To the agreement for services of the FERCog in regards to planning board matters.
Okay, hold on to that, John, because I'm still not typing as fast as you're saying it in my contract. Okay, a motion to amend our contract with the FERCog to add an additional $2,500 to the agreement of services with the FERCog
Yep. In regard to planning board matters.
for services in FY 2015, is that what it is?
14, 2014. Good?
Yep,
And it was approved 5-0.
500, yep.
All right, next up, review of budget requests for FY15. Apparently, our budgets are due, budgets and narrative are due February 4th by 4 o'clock. That's tomorrow. We have a memo from the Board of Selectmen telling us that we face serious fiscal challenges. They'd prefer our budgets were not increased any more than 2%. So last year, we asked for $7,500 for the FERCog planner services, and then $2,500 for operational expenses and training. And then we asked for $5,000 to help update our master plan. Remember, we were going to take chapter at a time, and
Yep.
and then that was not voted in, and we didn't do much there. So of the 10,000 that we were voted last year, we have spent 8,933, so almost 9,000 of it. Which is why we had to add this other 2,500. So it does seem like operational expenses and training do come out close to 2,500. I don't have that breakout here in our, what we've spent.
So the training, is that for like the conference?
See, I'm,
None of us really
I know, I
went to too
don't,
many things this
I'd
year.
like to see what that was spent on, but it says operational expenses, so some of it could just be, cover some of the admin things. So I guess,
We're also looking at all that zoning we got to take care of this year too. Right? To do with the
the housing?
the housing.
We submitted a request for technical assistance funding also to the
And that'll
FERC.
take care of that?
And they get money from the state if we get
Okay,
it.
all right.
That's what we asked for. So at this point, I think I'd recommend we just ask for the same 10,000 as last year and look for that, hopefully we'll get that technical assistance money, which we've gotten the 2 times we've asked for it over the past couple of years.
Well, if we use 9,000 last year,
This current year, which still has
current
5
year,
months left in it.
5 months left in it.
I'd increase it by 2%. You can always give it back.
Honestly, I'd like to say let's cut it by 5%. Let's set a trend here. Let's start cutting.
Yeah. There's a lot of places that need to be cut.
I think we can do it.
Okay, this was right after we just
Yeah.
said we need this technical assistance.
Right, but that's in there, and that technical assistance,
Well, it's in the 7,500.
no, it's already there.
We're not sure what the.
We're talking 500
$2,500.
bucks. 9,500 bucks. Come on, John, let's do it.
Well, I guess I'm also curious what our operational expenses are.
No, I
don't know.
wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either.
I'd increase it by the 2%.
I would too. You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to increase it by 2%.
A second?
So that's, not very much. $200?
Yeah.
Well, you want to propose increasing it more?
I think if we're coming up short this year already,
That we need to
that's
increase
a
it
good
more?
reason to increase it by a specific amount rather than a percentage. But that's just my thought. I mean, what was the budget this year and we ran out, right?
Right.
What was it, what was the
Well,
total?
the 2,500 that we just voted on.
Right, but what was the original amount, $10,000?
Well, it was 75 for COG services and 2,500 for operational expenses and training.
Okay, so
We
then
don't know
so
what
then
that's,
Yeah, that
don't have
probably.
We
for-
came up, that's what Paul's asking. So we came up $2,500 short.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
more by the end of the year.
more by the end, in the end of 5 more months. It might
Well,
be.
maybe we should ask for 12,000.
Well, I'd say,
1,000 more.
I'd say we ask for 1,250, for 12,500, I mean.
So that's a 25%.
That's $2,500 more, yeah.
Well, let's think for a minute, what did we spend, was there any, we had the housing plan, we had a number of things, but that money didn't
That
go
was
towards
separate,
that.
right, that was
a
separate money.
separate grant.
And to be honest with you, too, we don't know what the administrative costs are going to be next year because it's all changing. So we're
Why?
going to, well, because the town administrator position,
They increased the,
well, there's discussion about that. We got something from the select board that's coming up later on, John, talking about what the select board has in mind for us.
It's not on tonight's agenda, no.
Okay.
So,
we could,
I feel like I'm lacking information. I don't know what we spent the 2,500 on.
yes,
We don't, the other big piece here that is, we don't know is our revolving fund. Because I think that's where we can kind of do both. We have a little bit of money to spend, but we're being fiscally responsible.
Reimbursed.
We're not increasing the taxpayers', burden on it. We're using fees
gotta
that come
start
in.
somewhere.
And I think the last I saw, there was several $1,000s in there. And so I'd,
So do you still want to go to 2% then, Roger? Is that?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, all right.
I don't like to spend money.
So let's
I
vote,
know.
let's
But-
vote. So the motion was
Wait.
made by Roger and seconded by who?
by me, but can we
Eileen?
continue the discussion?
Well, that, first of all, you move and second it, and then you have discussion.
I
So
know,
I was just trying to
seconded
get it written
already.
down.
I seconded.
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, is the process now, so if we propose a budget, it goes to the finance committee, and so if the finance committee wants to challenge, then we could talk, we would have
Right,
information
right.
to talk about it, so we'd still have an opportunity to modify it based on more information. So if,
They want this budget tomorrow. Town meeting's right now scheduled for April 28th. The warrant should close 30 days before that, so that's January, February, March 28th. So we have a month and a half before those to do that discussion.
Modify, yeah.
So I like that. So let's vote on this one, knowing that we're going to have some discussion with the Finance Committee. And for next meeting, let's find out what our revolving loan fund is. I'll ask the office to tell us that.
Yeah, and what our expenses are.
Yeah. All right, so the motion on the table is to request at this point 2% more, which is $200 more. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain or no?
Yeah, he opposed.
Being different
You
today.
opposed, did you, John? Did you oppose?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
510 then.
But will we be able to ask the Finance Committee for more? I mean, no. Okay. That's.
We're 1-0. All right, well, that's not, we'll see that again. And then there was also, if we have any capital expense requests, and I don't think we ever have capital costs, so we don't have to worry about that one. All right, so just to the next thing on the agenda is to discuss and advise Green Energy Committee on possible solar project at the treatment plan. Then if we have time, we're going to discuss the housing production plan, how to move it forward. I'm open to leave in 5 or 10 minutes, so I was going to hand over the chairship to someone else, but I'd like to get started on this green energy thing. So, all right, and there's something, can I get the folder about it in there?
Okay, yeah, that was the solar.
Want to come on up and,
Is this Kristen?
I love these speakers.
Yeah, they're great.
So, I know, I'll ask you your name twice or 3 times. And
Kristen Bacher.
Kristen Parker.
Is the record. Thank you for being here. So, over the past month or so, I've gotten some phone calls and emails. I think, I know M.A. Swedlin is part of it, and someone else, I think, I got a phone call from or something. But, so, we're going to hear from Kristen what's going on, and what they asked me was to get our input before they kind of go too far down the road on something, that because, as we know, everything has costs when you start getting surveyors and stuff. So I was very careful in my emails back, saying I'm the chair, but I don't make decisions. My lovely board
Was
here.
very careful.
Okay. But I did agree that, and this is a town committee, and it's something being done on, I think, town land or something, so it seems like we should all kind of try to agree on things ahead of time. So that's all I know.
Okay.
And we have a few things in front of us, but you want to give us a quick summary?
We have approximately $100,000 left in our Green Community Grant money. And we're proposing to spend that on dual-axis solar trackers to be placed on the old Deerfield wastewater treatment plant. It would be grid-tied, so it would, in essence, run the meter backwards. And it would save the town approximately $3,000 in electricity a year.
Well,
Would it then, would it go make more than that? In other words, would it be a surplus, or would it just be covering the cost? And that's
It would, the wastewater treatment plant uses, I think, something like 116,000 kilowatt hours a year. And this would only produce the solar cells that we're putting up at this time, we propose to put up at this time, would take care of 20%.
Okay.
So let me back up and explain that. We had somebody approximate for us what they could do given the land to maximize the solar production. And they recommended these dual sun trackers. So you have a picture of it in your packet. It follows the sun throughout the day. So rather than being stationary, it gets a lot more bang for the buck. So in one of the pictures, you can see that we can put 11 of these arrays around the Deerfield plant. We only have enough money right now to put 3. and that's 20%. So it would be obviously significantly more once we completed the project, should more grant monies become available.
So in theory, if you were able to do the entire array, it would be
80%.
close to a net.
Close, yeah. So it would be a great deal for the town, certainly.
Well, when you say the town, actually, the sewer users fund that solely, so it's only going to benefit them. It's not going to benefit the whole town. It's just the people that are on sewer.
The people that are on sewer paid the electric
In
bill?
Old
Right.
Deerfield.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, I thought it might pay for something like the energy used here, or, so it's not really saving taxpayers across the,
No.
Well, I suppose it depends how you do it. If you run the meter backwards, the town owns the solar cells, and the town owns the energy produced by them, and you get from WAMECO credit.
Right.
How you use that credit,
yeah.
Right. But
So-
you're just saying that plant is only going to produce 20%, you said?
no, the three arrays that we're proposing will produce approximately 20% of what the waste treatment plant uses.
Each array, 20%.
No, there's a potential for 11. We can afford 3 at this
Oh,
time.
okay.
And those 3 would represent 20% of what it uses.
So
So
the-
just to give you an idea, it runs the meter backwards, we get the credit. I
But-
don't know how
But
the
if
If
credit
it
would
runs
be.
the meter backwards, then the treatment plant will get the credit.
Well, the town gets the credit. I know what she's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said it's only going to do 20% of their bill, so it's not going to run it backwards.
No, right.
There's going to be no credit.
What I'm saying is, that solar energy that's produced by the arrays is not directly used by the plant itself. It goes back into the grid,
Yeah.
and we get credit for it. So that's why I say the meter backwards, because it's not actually being used to run the wastewater treatment plant. Should the electricity go out and the grid goes down, we don't get any energy.
Right, and there's no batteries.
Correct.
So the wiring process with that array is connected to the grid, not to the sewer plant itself.
That's correct.
Okay, so in essence, the entire town of Deerfield taxpayers will reap somewhat of a benefit, whereas if it was tied in with the sewer plant and it slowed the meter down, the only ones that would reap the benefits would be people that are tied to sewer on that particular plant, because that's a really good point, Roger. And,
Right.
And is this, and this is not being paid for out of the sewer funds at all, right?
I'll clarify that as well. We have about 100,000, 90 to 100,000 left in our grant money. The wastewater treatment plant had been given money, allocated money for energy retrofits and to make it more efficient. They have approximately $20,000 left, so they agreed to combine funds with us to fund this project. So does that answer your question?
It does, but it also says that, did they expect to take it out of their budget? I mean, what was their intent when they gave the $20,000 to save money for the sewer users?
You would have to ask them.
Okay.
So I just want to just focus again, because we're the planning board.
Yeah.
This is the
Yes.
Energy Committee.
Right. Thank you.
So what they're coming to us for isn't so much whether this is a good or bad idea, although I'm sure they would love to get all our opinions on it. I think what we want to talk about is what are the issues that they're going to do a site plan review, because they're going to disturb property, as we
Right.
know, and we have the new solar installation thing in our zoning bylaws, and we are the permitting authority, actually,
Yeah.
for
Right.
it.
So then we actually need to know how many KW this will supply.
So if I could so what we're going to do is get a site plan review and a special permit request from them. But couple of the things they're wondering are, our site plan review asks for a lot of things, and they're wondering if there's some things they could do at a little
Well, the
maybe a
first
little
thing
less
it does
cost.
ask is the amount of power that it produces, and that determines where it falls in the bylaws.
It's a small?
No, it would be a large, anything over 10 kW, and this would be, I think, 6.2 times 3, approximately 18.
Okay, that was
So
my
it-
question, so
yes.
that tells where you're going to
With
fall.
all
Yes.
panels,
With the three.
the three alone.
Right.
And because it's freestanding, that's different than being on a building.
That's
the other.
correct.
That's the other piece that we have
Right,
to
it's
be
on the
aware of.
pool.
And one of the things, they're going to send this out for design and installation and RFP and stuff, so just, they kind of want to get it
Yes.
handled. Is this, are we going to, what kinds of questions are we going to ask?
Right. The catch-22 for us, honestly, is it has been recommended to us to try to get the permits before putting out the RFP, because if we don't and we can't get the permits, are we on the hook with the contract that we've signed
Right.
for the RFP? And the other thing is usually you want, as I understand it, you want the plan to approve before the permit, but our RFP is for design and installation. It may not look exactly like this. We might get a better idea by somebody we haven't talked to who has more knowledge than we've received. So there are certain questions we can't answer, we can only approximate.
It's
And
a
that's-
chicken and egg thing.
It is, and so we need your help on this.
Well, is this something, John, that we should take and have some advice on, or do you, something we can't answer today, but we can get to you, with the specifics of it?
Well, what is the sewer plant zone down there?
I know,
where
you
a
said
sewer
it's
plant would be-
commercial, is that, I don't know if we.
Shouldn't a sewer
double-checked
plant
on
be
that.
zoned industrial? Because that would immediately kick it up to a lot more kilowatts, right? If memory serves me correctly.
No, I don't think it matters where it is, I think isn't it small, large, and extra large or something? We have 3 different, and I didn't bring my thing, anybody bring
No,
that?
I don't have it.
Is there one in the, there should be one in the.
Yeah, I don't remember there being a difference
How
depending on
soon
how
do you need
some-
this information?
You want,
What's that?
that's part of the reason we chose this project to expend the money is because these poles can pretty much be fabricated somewhere else and planted in 1 or 2 days. So
No, but I mean, like, if we take a week or two to give you an answer, does that meet your needs?
a week would be better than 2 weeks, because if we don't spend the money that we've been allocated, we can't apply for more when the next round of Green Communities funds come. And they've been very helpful as far as reducing municipal energy use. So sooner is better than later. We've hit a lot of speed bumps, as is normal.
So I would say, so they wrote me a letter and they said, can some certain sections be waived? 5430, 5440, 5420.
And what are those?
And that's what
sections?
I'm trying to think, but because, in a site plan, we ask traffic study, lighting, drainage, all of these things.
Huge.
I think this.
Engineer stamped stuff,
And so I would say that, and the Conservation Commission's gonna have to be involved in this because it
'Cause
is
this-
right on the border, it's on the river.
right,
And so water is always our big issue.
yeah.
And so I think you'll have to do something to show that certainly the river's not gonna be polluted and runoff, where does
Runoff,
runoff go?
yes,
Because there is
stormwater
some runoff, so those
management,
kind of things.
yeah.
Now,
See, that-
when
that's-
people do big pavements, we get pretty strict, we wanna really know the water runoff and all the different drainage and
Being
everything.
managed, yeah.
I guess the question is
But
the
we
level
also
of
have to
engineering.
decide the engineering part of it and the peer review and
Right.
all of that. So that's why I say, I don't know as we're ready tonight to hash out all the details of this,
Oh,
but we could
absolutely
give it to
not.
Pat Smith and see what
The other,
she
Do
can
it in a
say.
week.
the other point that I can bring up here, and we can pass this information to Pat Smith, is this is a Deerfield Energy Committee. It's, like I say, kind of Deerfield property, and we're a Deerfield Committee and all the rest of it. But we also have to be careful about precedent, because it could be some private solar who wants to come in and take farmland and put solar on it, and if they go and say, we did something for this project, they're gonna
Yeah.
want the same thing. And
Yeah. Preferential, yeah.
And I don't mind saying, hey, this was
Yeah.
a town project, so it's totally different. I just want us to realize that that's what happens when you start making
Right.
changes
Like,
to the
I'm-
bylaws.
I'm sure one of these is the setback. It's a pretty big setback. It's like 100 feet.
Yeah. And this is like almost, some of these are going to be very close to the fence.
Well, it depends, what are you going to measure from? Are you going to measure from
The property line.
Property
the
line.
pole
Pole,
to the property line, or how far the
Footprint of the
array
array, yeah.
goes? But
That's
what's
right.
a footprint?
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, it, you
Right.
know.
So it isn't, we approximated, and I think it's about 47 feet from the property line and about maybe 47, 50 feet from the river,
So how,
So
pole or the array?
the pole.
Yeah.
So minus, it's 22 minus 11 feet if you want,
Yeah.
because it's at 22 by 22 for this particular array.
can I see, are there adjacent residents? I mean, are they going to impact
No,
people?
it's in the
So,
middle of
farmland.
Yazwinski's field, basically.
Is the one in Old Deerfield?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the dirt
There's
road.
an aerial, I
And that-
don't know if-
Yeah, can I see it?
Actually,
Yes, I don't have
that
any-
road, Roger, that's a town road, is it?
yes.
Yeah,
So
No,
that's
Little
the
Meadow
plans.
Road.
Have you already been to Conservation Commission?
No, but we've
Okay,
talked to
that, then,
them.
is that the picture you're looking at?
Yeah.
'Cause I was just,
Right.
curious, like with the 200-foot Wetland Protection Act
Right.
thing and all
Yeah.
that stuff, how that
Yeah.
comes into
That's going to have to
play.
go to DEP.
And what did they say?
MA has talked more with them. Dick
Kalichewski.
Thanks. Is very optimistic and doesn't think there'll be a problem.
Okay.
But that's within, that may be a DEP thing.
I mean, because laws are laws. I mean, that's.
Yeah, with this within a 200-foot setback.
Right.
So I guess I would like to give the signal that we're not going to be more strict than DEP or Conservation Commission. Can we say that? Can we kind of?
Yeah, oh no, honestly, I love solar. I mean, I don't,
I mean, that's
Yeah,
not the
that's-
question, yeah.
you can reclaim the land, blah, 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 but, the way our bylaws are written,
Well, no,
you
but
were-
in the site plan review, it does say we have discretion.
Yes, we do.
To not, like traffic, we're not going to ask for some traffic study. It's in the front.
I mean, and
it's on
it
permit.
should be up to us without repercussions down the
Right.
road to say, listen, this is out in the middle of a field.
Right.
It's not
There's not a
impacting
house
residents,
within
yeah.
a quarter of a
that's
mile.
the
I
thing.
mean, but hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us someday.
So I
But
think
this-
we can say that water's going to be an issue, so it's really, I
Right.
can't imagine anything that we're going to ask the, either DEP or the Conservation Commission. That's it.
Except the difference is,
setback.
Except
we're- right.
that setback, we would need a waiver from the setback.
And then I'm understand, if that's a variance, then the ZBA
That's what I was
does
going to
get
say, it has to go
involved.
to ZBA.
It
We
does
can do the
have
special
to.
Yeah.
permit, but for the
Right.
variance.
So it has to go to ZBA.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ron Mahanowicz has been on some of these emails, he's kind of following it. We also, when we do the site plan review and the special permit, we'll do it together. We'd invite the ZBA to
ZBA
do the
and the
variance at the
Concom.
same meeting, so we should try to expedite
Be
it.
nice to have the con.
And then have the
And if we could have,
Yeah.
well, we did that, we've done that once.
But if I understand Kristen right now, John, she's just looking for an opinion of what she needs to do, and that will come down the road. That won't be now. That we can't do that before she.
We have to write the RFP, and we can't really write an RFP unless we have a clear idea whether this is going to fly with
Right.
these three boards.
Right,
Well,
but the
I
fact is that we can't give you a decision till the RFP is here and presented to us with the plan. So it's a
Yeah.
chicken and egg kind of thing.
Right.
Where we can say, yeah, it looks like it'd be okay, and this is what we think it would cost, and so forth and so on. But
what I'm
that's about all
looking
we can do.
I hear you, the think stuff. So I need the think stuff so we can write the RFP in the correct way, so we don't have to go
Sure.
back and forth, back and forth.
Well, that's why I think we need to
Right.
go to Pat
Yeah.
Smith and really get some in detail stuff so we don't give you the wrong information
Okay, and Pat is,
for the FERCog.
And you're also
FERCog.
working with the FERCog.
right,
He's a
Who are you
technical
working with there?
consultant.
I believe it will be Andrea Wood? Is that possible?
Yeah, she does the hi.
Hey,
She can
So,
speak to her directly.
so
right,
Andrea
John?
and Pat could say, Andrea, make sure in the
Right.
RFP you've got this covered, and that covers what the planning board's
Hear
going to
you
look
with
for.
my.
Yeah, that would probably be the
Right,
thing
because
to
she's
do.
going to say, I think you should do this, and we're going to go, okay.
And it wouldn't hurt at that point to
We scratch our
send,
chins, okay.
well, it wouldn't hurt at that point to send out something to the planning board saying this is what what Pat Smith said, so that somebody here doesn't say, oh, wait a minute, I don't think that's right, or something. You know, at least so we can run it by the group.
Well, we need some time to check some things out. I mean, one of the things I don't feel like, as a stormwater authority, I don't have any sense of the solar array, what kind of water comes off of that, what kind of drainage you need.
Lynn, when it comes to solar,
Yeah.
it's basically the panels, yes, they're impervious, and they drop onto
Yeah.
the existing soil
Well,
that
they
was there before.
concentrate it, and so I don't know anything about drainage. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's,
Can't
yeah,
make
when it comes to
much of a
solar, it's totally different than,
No, I
but
know
the
it's
other-
not onto an impervious surface, but it does concentrate it. I don't know.
22 square feet, so it's not a huge.
Yeah, but there's 3 times 3, but then what's going to happen with the,
22 by 22.
yeah, 22 by 22, so there'd be 3 of them, right?
3 right now.
3 of them that size.
And,
So-
and none, the 3 that we're proposing first off are the ones furthest away from the river. So the ones closer to the road.
okay, so for your 3 original ones, it shouldn't even be an issue as far as setback and all that.
Not
From
set-
the river.
From the river, right. So they would be here because the electrical box is right here. But we want to have an idea of whether these are possible because we want the installation to be done so expandability
Is easier
is,
and cheaper, yeah.
right.
So you're looking for 11 times 22 instead of just 3 right now, in this conceptual stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to come with your full boat right
Yeah,
off the bat.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
that's what I've been advised to do.
Now,
Well, except to get this going and get the grant spent.
That's
We really need to get this piece first and move along with that.
now, as far as stormwater, real quick, Lynn, if I'm not mistaken, a sewer plant has a dike all the way around it anyways.
Doesn't.
No, that one doesn't, Roger? Okay, then,
I don't remember.
I just don't know enough about it to say it's not going to require some stormwater management. That's
No,
all.
the one down in Deerfield,
With the stormwater authority
dike is only
as
against
well,
the
so
riverside.
that's-
oh, I
If the river
I
comes
thought
up,
this one was too.
Small,
Okay,
and they
my
tilt,
mistake.
right?
Yeah,
They're
20
small and they tilt.
22,
So they're angled to.
22 feet.
I don't think
by
runoff
22.
is going to be an issue.
So basically, we're saying, we're not going to have anything extra than the Conservation Commission and DEP. We'll have to go to DEP.
It might be within the buffer.
And do we have to do
I can
anything
tell you the
about land
Concom will
disturbance or
not
anything, John? Do
expedite this.
What's it?
we have to do anything about land disturbance or
Well,
anything in the project?
Part of that is whether they have to do a site plan review. It's, what is it, 600, or no, solar's a whole separate thing. So this shouldn't, because remember the other people, they were saying, are they disturbing just
Well, that's my
2
question.
feet around the pole, or are
What-
you disturbing the whole?
What do we
Yeah.
consider disturbing?
Right,
I don't
that's
think
the
we've ever
definition, right,
figured that
right.
out yet.
Right, are they going to, I mean, personally, the way I look at it is if you're going to be realigning the property, leveling it, blah, blah,
Right,
blah,
then you're
you would have
disturbing
to,
That's
but if you're
disturbing.
just
Taking a whole.
doing
Installing a
2 by 2,
pole, yeah.
And just
Concrete.
out of,
then you could go with that.
And
They're
just
gonna
out
have
of
to pour some
curi- just-
concrete, so it'd be not a large hole.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they're gonna have to trench for the wires and stuff like that, but it's
Exactly. The
minimal
conduit, yeah.
yeah.
disturbance.
And that had more to do with the fee they had to pay, because our fees are based on land disturbance.
That's what I'm
So we
saying,
had
yeah.
to
Remember those
define
people, they wanted to do a
disturbance.
2 acres, it was gonna be like really expensive. I mean,
But
this
are we
isn't.
going to have, this is a town project, aren't the fees going to be waived?
Well, they go to the town anyways, even if they weren't.
Those fees were basically to cover engineering costs.
We have the
and peer
authority
Peer
to
review.
That's- and peer review, yeah.
Might be able to cover that.
waive fees.
And is it all going to be grass under the panels, or what's going to be under the
Wait,
panels?
Kristen, excuse me, if, I just want to respond to her question. If we need to have, technical assistance review it, it costs the town money, so it's just recovering our costs. It's not,
Like Pat?
Let me-
Yes.
Yeah,
Let
like
me just
Pat.
suggest something, since you brought this up. I think it would be very worthwhile to have Pat and Andrea to talk sooner rather
That
than
sounds
later.
good.
Right.
Andrea's doing one for Row right now. She's in the midst of doing it. She knows these projects, so she knows what's involved. I just saw that Leverett did this huge one, and it stretched across from where the town hall is up to the library to the school. They went ahead with the RFP before they even had the zoning bylaw in place. 'cause
Wow.
So I think it would be good for them to talk with each other, Pat and
Yeah.
Andrea, and get the whole ducks in order
recommendation.
thing.
Okay, so, help me out here. You would recommend that first we share this information with Andrea, who's going to write the RFP, and recommend that, and with Pat, and have them talk together. I don't know on whose dime, but
Pat is our consultant.
Right.
We have a
Okay.
little bit of money to pay her until an applicant has to pay her, and so I think for a few hours, that's on our,
okay.
she would
do
bill
that,
us.
Okay, so I would do that,
Yeah.
get their best idea for an RFP together, return to you with that.
But I think I would talk to the Concom as soon as you can.
That's scheduled, isn't it?
Is scheduled?
No, it's not scheduled, but I don't know any other way rather than pounding on doors to get a response.
If I see
They don't have
anything
regular
holding this
meetings.
project up because of the
But they don't have
proximity of the
regular
river,
meetings?
I would
thought
see
that
see it
office
being a
staff was getting them to
conservation.
meet. I
absolutely.
didn't
Not a
know that
planning.
it was
I
that
agree.
dramatic.
I agree.
And you, so we'll get right on Concom. Give the information to Pat and Andrea. Come back and hopefully meet with you and the ZBA together?
And actually, Concom will be the stormwater authority on this also because of the proximity to the river, wouldn't they, John?
Oh, we say if they're involved, then
Right.
they take I think you're
So,
right.
yeah,
I
I'm
think you're
pretty
right.
sure,
I think
yeah.
that's
We
our-
could,
our
we
bylaw
can
says.
give them,
We can
Is
give
that how
them
it
the
works?
authority,
Right.
Because we
Okay.
figure they're going to do it anyway.
right, so why
both of
go
us do
through
it?
two
Right.
boards?
It might be more expedient if we did it, though.
I know, that's what it sounds.
Yeah,
Tiny.
yeah, I worked with them recently this past year, and they meet when they meet, and that's it.
And they don't mean,
Who
They
is
will
that?
not
They meet
Concom.
with them?
Conservation.
Concom,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you working with any solar people right now that you're
The con.
talking with?
Well, we've talked with solar people to get an idea of what would be the best way to use this property. We can't solicit too much information because that might,
Proprietary, the bid.
Well, where I'm going with this is, personally, I don't see a stormwater issue with the solar array. Perhaps one of your solar people could give you some information so you could present it to the planning board, or, okay, this is how much extra runoff is, or how much extra stormwater. Because to me, it's only the size of the pole.
I know. During construction, doing the trenches, they just, put up the
Put
hay
some
bales or
bales.
whatever,
Yeah, they're gonna do
those kind of
whatever,
things. But, and that's where, Pat can help make sure that that's in the RFP.
RFP.
I found being within the 200-foot buffer, we had to deal with DEP, and I'm wondering if even just a call to DEP.
well, as I understand the way it works is when we've already filled out the forms for them, that automatically gets sent to the DEP, and I believe that's already happened.
Yep.
Because we've sent the information to you, we've sent it to Sokolowski, and I believe it's been already sent by Pat to DEP. So, okay, this has been very helpful. It's confusing. And you haven't committed to anything.
I mean,
But
we're
I'm still
friendly towards this,
smiling, right?
you understand that,
Yeah.
and we'll do what we can.
We're behind you,
Have
We'll
you
do what we
looked-
can.
1,000%.
1,000 feet behind you, by the
1,000.
way.
Have you looked at the site plan review application?
What's that?
Have you looked at the site plan review application?
You have it,
They,
Others completed it?
yeah.
I got the first page of it, I didn't see the real one. Did I miss
Is
something
this
in
not a real one?
there? Yeah, but do you
You
have
get
any
the whole
pages
thing?
after that?
Yeah.
We just
there.
have
Let's see.
this
I may
package.
filled
can
it
make
out and
copies
gave you
if you
copies,
Well,
and then,
does it look like it's enough, it's the real one that we could schedule? Because then, if that's real enough, I didn't think that was real enough to
It's,
schedule a site plan review
is that
meeting, public hearing. I don't think we're there yet, no?
this is what you have. You have that first page, and second page, and then
Well, I got this on the second page, nothing.
commercial, 14 commercial.
I don't have applicant signatures, owners, town clerk certification, I don't know anything.
How- Yeah, the reason you don't have the town clerk's signature is she didn't want the clock to start ticking.
Oh,
And I guess that's what I'm saying, we can't schedule a site plan review public hearing until
Everything's in
the
order.
clock has to start ticking, so I know, but I'm not ready to schedule it yet. because I don't have an
Good thing
official.
you're so smart,
Why can't the clock start ticking? I don't get it.
because there's a lot to put together.
Because we have only so much time to act upon
I
it.
think she's trying to
I think we can
help
buy you
you
some
folks
time.
out.
We can pend it. I mean, if we're waiting on information, we just
Right, continue.
Exactly.
no, we just continue them. So we're going to work with you to continue it. But I guess the other question is can we, because you're saying, can we even do these permits? And then you're going to hire someone and they might want to make changes.
Right. So you get a permit and can't they come and ask for an amendment to the agreement? I don't know
As
how
long as
it
it falls
works.
within the parameters of it.
Yeah, but it'd be one thing if you had a plan in front of you and there is some changes, but you have nothing to present, so that's why it's going to be difficult. If you could just have a map and say, this is where the post is going to be, and just sort of have an idea where the stuff was going to be placed.
You have that.
I don't know if we have it or not, but
There's a file. Here it is. I got it.
because I can't imagine it changing that much. The panels are basically the same, so I would think they'd
This is
fall.
a black
It's
and
a
white
limited
picture of it,
area.
but-
Here's, the-
There's marks there showing where
Yeah,
they
see
would
the
be.
grid? It's kind of hard to see. There's one
Yeah.
grid, and there's 11 starting here. Let me get a better
Does that look
picture.
like?
Oh, yeah, I see it now with my
Does it look like
glasses
what?
I mean,
and
it's not
being
complete because
closer.
it hasn't been
No.
certified, so we're not really supposed to
Start the clock.
start
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Right, but, yeah, she
It's a-
does
there's
have
no
them
site-
placed, so you could get an idea where they're gonna be.
An idea, but you need it in writing that it's going to be 12 feet exactly. you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I mean,
But, I mean,
Right.
she could have it in that position, and then if it needed to be tweaked a foot or 2 or 5 feet, I don't think it's,
Well, I mean,
my mind is
if
not
you
that
ask
big a
us the
deal.
question right now, where do we measure the setback, from the pole or the side of the thing?
Maybe that's a
We're not
legal
prepared to answer
question.
that question, so that's, we should,
It's gonna be the furthest point, it's
Yeah,
not
I
gonna be
would
the
say it would
pole.
be not the pole, but the,
Yeah,
But we should get clarification.
you can't you
I know,
can't
otherwise you
overhang-
could hang it over.
Over
Yeah,
a
you
building,
can't
yeah.
overhang it on someone
Well, I
else's
mean,
property.
This is property, right.
Right.
this really is going to set precedence because we've never really had to vote on one of these yet, John.
'Cause I think there was an issue down at the wastewater treatment plant in
So-
town.
No, we had one
They
that was
wanted to do
about
it
to
on the
come in and
fence,
then
but
never
it'd be
came,
hanging
so-
over on someone else's property.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, it's going to be, I think, I wrote it down, but 40-something feet from the property. The edge of the array, not the pole.
Oh, that's cool.
And the
It's got to
property
be another
is,
11 feet for half of the,
yes,
Yeah.
to the pole.
And then
And
we have to
she's
double
just-
check the zone, it's commercial or industrial.
I wouldn't, I
Oh,
don't
if we
even
have the
think it'd be that, it'd be
rural
like.
agriculture.
Yeah, it's agriculture.
Is there a
it'd be
little
just-
carve out there? I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be just that parcel. And it's.
Owned by the
I
sewer
don't see it
plant.
on
Yeah.
our,
Correct.
I know, I don't even see it on our map.
Yeah, I
There's
don't
no
even
little
think it
dot
would
up
be
there, is there?
anything.
I don't think so.
So
I think the whole thing here boils down to that if your person talks with Pat Smith, that you can get all the information right direct from her. And
Yeah,
you'll
that
all
would be
set.
nice. I guess my question on the site plan is on whether it should be signed by the town clerk, even though it lacks a lot of information. Do we do that?
Well, I
Is that
think
what
part
you're
of it-
That's a lot of
asking for?
information.
Yeah, but
There's
see,
no real.
you also
yeah.
got to submit digital formation, and you got to submit a lot of stuff in addition that you don't have yet.
This
So
is
Digital.
There's an application,
They-
but
the
it's not, there's not
stuff
the
gets
whole
submitted digitally, too, as
package
well
is not there.
on
It's not
We just
developed.
scan it.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
just scan it, and it's
Yeah.
no big deal.
But the,
They have that on. They have
They've
all
already
these-
done it in the office.
Except I have some additional maps that haven't been scanned yet, but I don't think it gives you much more information.
but the question is, goes back to, can we make a decision before we have all the information?
And that's kind of definite.
And all the information, do you mean where that pole is going?
Yeah. And what the setbacks
Well,
are,
we-
and then if it needs to change later on, I think then we could make a decision. And then if it needs to change a couple months later because of good reasons, you come back and we make the changes.
So we had gone around in the office about whether to put the RFP out
Right.
if we needed these permits, or which comes first, the whole chicken and egg thing? Or can we put it, a bid out or RFP out, and then find out we need all these permits, you know? So anyway, that's why I think it'd be very great, very good to have Andrea Pat,
Talk with Pat.
speak with each
Because-
other.
and also whoever
because they've
does
done
the
these projects, both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Any
Let's get that
town
done.
Whoever does
project,
the
you're gonna.
RFP is going to have to know the bylaw and come up with their, what their fees are going to be.
I think the conservation will be the biggest hurdle.
That's,
Right,
That's good
that's
to
what I
know.
said when I saw, I said, oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
very
site
close to
plan
the
review,
river.
so it's going to require a public hearing at some point.
correct.
Right, which,
And we'll try to just have one. We'll combine as many of the things as we can.
We'd appreciate that.
it would help us during the public hearing if there were a lot of people that showed up that said, I think it's great, it's not affecting anything, it's so far out in the woods, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to decide whether
We're waiving.
we're going to waive the setbacks and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And is this Yazinski, you said?
So the abutters would be
So they-
invited.
Which I don't see
Yes.
that being a
Yazwinski.
problem.
Are they good with it?
We need that to
I don't know.
protect
Yes,
us.
What was
yeah,
that,
in the
John?
future,
Are they
yeah.
good with it or not? I mean, it'd be great for
Oh.
them to come to the public hearing and say, we're
Right.
happy.
I think they have to be notified, don't they?
Right.
as
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
butters? Yeah.
But they should be here and say,
Yeah.
yes, we
Yeah.
want.
I
And
think you get a letter of support. You don't even
Oh,
have-
okay,
Yeah.
letter of support.
We should know
but if you're
ahead of
against
time
it, you
what
should
we're.
know that ahead of time.
Yeah, I was going to say, before you launch into this whole.
Okay, thanks for coming on.
That would be very important for
Make that
us.
contact be all.
Okay. Dick's gonna write one as well.
You need to
Are
go.
you still vice chair?
Oh, I guess. I don't know. Are you vice chair? Do you
Okay,
wanna-
so are we,
I'm not, I'm clerk.
Can I hand this over to you?
Vice Chair.
before you leave, John, I'd like to set a time limit for the housing production plan. Please, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your help, and I'll try to get you better information. I think
Just
the-
one quick question.
Yeah.
How come they're taking all the power back in the grid and it won't be used like on site?
I think we should dedicate it.
I think it's
At the next
easier.
meeting to the housing.
So it's
Yeah,
a
and just
technical
put it for
thing,
the
like,
next
okay, I
agenda.
just
And be
curious,
clear
because
about
most
what
of
we're
them.
gonna
Put solar on your house, same thing. It doesn't help your house.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Thank
It
you.
just goes to the grid, and they keep track of it by meter, by how much you get.
Really, so all of them are that way?
That's correct.
But that can't be true because like if you have batteries,
If you have batteries, you're not connected to the grid.
oh yes, you are.
Well, yes, there are three
But that's,
possibilities.
there's nothing to discuss here
You can
anyways. I was
be-
just
The
curious.
ones that I've
Yeah.
seen installed have their own meter that measures the power going out, and that's it.
But a household array is different than the array that you're talking. A household array, yes, it does go through your meter, and it either makes your meter run slower or backwards or
Yeah.
Not the
whatever.
ones I've seen, John.
But,
The ones
well-
I've seen have a separate meter, and the whole array is on its own meter, and that meter's read, and then they get paid for that power, and then that offsets their electric.
Right. I believe there is a separate.
Separate
They don't,
meter.
they can't plug it into your literal meter and make it.
Yeah. Well, the last one I saw, they have the panels up on the roof.
Yeah,
And then
this
they
isn't
have
the place to talk
converters
about
right
it.
on the
Yeah,
panels.
if we could
that
focus
create
on
the
Yeah, let's-
AC.
Thank you for your time.
Put them all together and they run.
I have a quick question. When do you have to have this all said, spent, and done by?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the next round of grants is in the spring. So,
Yeah, this can take months. Yeah, I mean, 'cause
you know,
have
once
to-
you get, as I said, this was the quickest thing we could do, is they bring the whole thing,
Yeah.
plug it in the concrete, and you're done.
Right.
It's all the
And the
bureaucracy.
grant, and the grant will pay for that. The grant's
Yes.
allocated, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so, in terms of the housing plan, John was just saying we could put on the agenda for about a half hour for the next meeting, but I want to be clear about what are we talking about? Are we trying to select parts of the plan for the board to take on? Are we looking at establishing a subcommittee?
Well, no, I take it as we got to start discussing which route we're going to go. What's the best route for the town of Deerfield? Because with zone, as far as like,
There was some zoning recommendations.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
there
a
were.
lot of those zoning recommendations aren't going to work for the town of Deerfield, in my opinion. So I think we need to have a dialect about that type of stuff before we can move any further.
Okay, because it'd be up to the planning board to put that forward to town meeting if there were going to be zoning changes.
Right.
Okay, so can we agree that we'll do this a half hour on the next agenda?
I make a motion if I need to.
I don't think you need a motion, just say
Do we
we'll
agree?
Yes.
Yeah,
table it till next meeting.
Yeah, okay. And the only announcement that I saw, well, one is the conference is coming up, the planners' conference is coming up. She doesn't have an agenda here. I got it in the email.
Came in the email.
Yeah, it
Yep.
came in the email. Do you remember when it was? Like April usually?
15th, I thought, something.
Is it April 15th?
I
Usually
know,
it's a
was it, no, it was
Saturday,
March,
right?
wasn't
It's
it March?
March? Okay.
It was coming up quickly, it wasn't,
Yeah.
wasn't that far off.
So I don't know, we've carpooled in the past. I don't know if folks are interested in going, and then this
Well, if
committee
enough
paid
people
for
are
it.
going, yeah, I'd carpool with them, I'd go with them,
Is anybody interested?
yeah.
I don't know where I'm gonna be, I can't say.
So March, we'll have one more meeting before that, so we can talk about it then.
Where
Okay,
is the
great.
conference anyways, and just out of
It's
Is
curiosity?
that all the mail that you have right there?
No, it's here if you want to look at it.
I'll
This-
just look
Can you
at
go
it.
one sec, just one second? Okay, let's just finish one thing. So, it's usually, was it Worcester? It was like
was
a
Worcester, I
Leominster,
think, yeah.
yeah.
Down that area
It's-
anyways.
Yeah. So we carpooled. You can look at the mail. The one thing that really was relevant to us was, has anybody seen the, this information here? You can look at it while I'm talking. So the gas pipeline, I guess the town has been getting phone calls.
I
that have been
heard a little bit
contacted.
about it, but
Yeah, and this doesn't say much. There's a letter here that went to Paul. Paul, did you see this?
I did until I got it in the email, I don't know why my name's on it.
It's a little
Yeah.
disturbing to me that they just,
Well, he's,
But the
maybe
other
because
thing
he's
was-
the clerk. It might
Must
have
be,
been-
but
yeah.
I also would like to, see a map that you could read. The map that they sent, you couldn't even, there's nothing you can do with it to
It's
bring it up.
actually in the mail. Can you?
No, it wasn't, you
It
couldn't,
wasn't?
you can't make it, I've got it right here.
Well, you
can't-
printed it?
I printed it, but you can't make it out. It's
Okay.
very vague. It's going through Massachusetts.
Well, that's the thing. It says, it doesn't say exactly where
Well, and you
it's going to
can't, and you
go.
can't enlarge it to see the detail.
Okay, so we could ask, so it's saying to upgrade existing pipeline within New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and the proposed project, constructing approximately 250 miles of new pipeline. They anticipate being able to locate significant portion adjacent or generally parallel to existing pipeline and electric utility corridors. Pending receipt of all necessary approvals, proposed project estimated to be in place by November 2018. But it doesn't say exactly where.
Well, it's, if you know where Berkshire Gas's suppliers' lines are, supposedly it's going to be the same, but
And do you know
where
where
are
they
those?
are? I don't know.
Well, they go down 5 and 10, because I believe they go right down 5 and 10 up here in front of my store.
Oh, really? 5 and 10? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah,
Off
they
the
do.
side of 5 and 10, not on 5 and 10, but
Projected to create over 3,000 jobs. Let's see, so outreach meetings ongoing, route selection and permit preparation ongoing, proposed construction, April 2017.
I'd almost say that I don't know what the rules or how that all works, but
Oh, yeah, this is on.
well,
but you'd want to make sure that they're going to service the community, not say, oh, it's too expensive to go to here and there, and they just want to get through our town. You know what I mean?
I think there was something in the paper and
There was, yes.
it talked about Montague, so for some reason, I thought they were going to try to follow the electrical corridors where existing, the high tensions, the high lines are. But I don't know that for a fact
But
because
if you look at that map there, Roger,
I know it
you
was
can't-
vague.
you
I
can't
saw
make it
one.
out.
I saw one before too, Paul, and I couldn't really
Yep.
decipher where it was
I went
or wasn't.
online to see if I could find a better map, and I couldn't do anything
But it
with it.
sounded like people were already out in the communities talking with landowners, and I would assume they would talk with, townspeople or the town, because if they need to cross a roadway, they need to get permits to do that, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could get more information.
I bet you the FERCog may have,
And wasn't it
They-
like
they
$500
hadn't
million
come to the,
or something was this project?
What's that, Paul?
I think the project's going to cost around $500 million.
Yeah, I don't remember a dollar amount. They did say how many jobs it might create, and, Berkshire
30-inch
Gas was in
pipeline.
favor of it, because it'd be another,
12-inch somewhere else, too. They got different sizes if you look. What little I could make out of that map, they have different sized pipelines.
okay.
There's feeders, there's mains, there's,
Okay, well, we need more information.
Well,
So
yeah.
Can we move on?
yep,
Yes.
let's move on.
Okay, so, and it doesn't sound like it's happening right this second, so, the other thing, did you hear that the selectmen had approved the housing plan back in December? So that's another announcement. The other announcement is we had a railroad meeting. They're going to cap the area where the old lake asphalt along River Road. They're going to cap it with a permeable soil. Town's still generating comments on that. So it's finally, That's going to be the final cleanup action, or they're going to stabilize and they're going to put an activity use limitation, like a deed restriction, so you can't have a residence or a school there. And if they do any construction, they won't, they have all these guidelines that they have to meet. If they dig up the soil.
I was going to ask that question. Could you utilize that
You
piece of
could, yeah,
property for
it's
anything?
basically a brownfields, but there's a whole, when you put an activity use limitation, it's DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, has a very set AUL you have to put on there, and it specifies if workers dig, what they need to do to protect themselves and to keep things from blowing, because it's basically asbestos that they're covering.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
impression I got.
Yeah.
But that was really the only remedy for the situation?
They gave him two choices, was dig it out and haul it out, or cover it. The thing is, the reason they didn't dig was they didn't know how far they were gonna have to dig for it to go. And then, DEP only gave them the two choices, and they decided to do fill, and they decided to do permeable. And my only concern was to make sure there's other contaminants there, to make sure they don't migrate into the groundwater there, because all that groundwater there's two streams that go right under that site and empty
Yeah,
over
I'm
in the river.
sort of familiar with
Yeah.
that. But, yeah, groundwater, I mean, sometimes it doesn't get into the stream. Groundwater itself, it just leach down in and it migrates toward the
The river.
river typically.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be an old stone culvert that's under there, so we don't know how much it leaks, because what we're finding is we're finding water coming out of the stormwater in non-storm events. So you're getting, quote, stormwater when there's no storm, no rain.
Yeah.
So we're thinking that's groundwater infiltrating the stormwater pipes.
Yeah,
Right, so it's not clear that they're impermeable.
probably not.
Right, because they're like 100 years old or more. So anyway, it's, the comment period ends the end of this week, but we're looking to extend it because we need a little more time to evaluate the cover that they've proposed.
And Pan Am actually owns that site.
Yeah, and the thing is, they didn't contaminate it, but they own it, so.
Yeah, they
were
bought it.
responsible
Yeah,
for
right,
cleaning it up.
I knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, the Open Space Committee, we already talked about, signage, Paul? Or the-
Signage, we're actually going to have our organizational meeting with, on Wednesday at 3:30.
And so who's gonna be, is it Dick Kalachowski?
Right now, it's just Dick Kalashewski, the chair of the, what's his, I can't think of his name right now. I know him
Max?
too.
No.
No, well, Max is somebody I hope to be here tonight. I'd tell him about it because I think he wanted to be on it too.
Yeah.
But what's his name from the chair, from the zoning?
Oh,
Ron
well.
Bahanowitz.
Ron Bahanowitz, yeah. So Ron Bahanowitz, Dick Kalashewski, and myself. And if Max,
Oh, good.
And what night is that, Paul?
that's Wednesday afternoon at 3:30.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday, yep.
Is
Day
this the
after
first
tomorrow.
meeting?
First
Finally,
meeting, yep.
after all these, like
All
a year
this
later?
time, yep,
Okay,
yep,
good,
yep.
congratulations. What's on the
So-
agenda?
Well, we're going to start mapping out how we're going to do it, and
Gonna
we want to
revise.
invite some community people. We've had several people that requested to be on it, but we want to make sure that we have a committee with no bone in the
Agendas.
agendas, and
Yeah,
then
bias.
people, and then we want to make sure we invite people with agendas to come and have their input.
Hey, great.
So
And-
it'll be a mixture, but it'll start off with people that have no dog in the fight.
So
Makes sense.
So the goal is to come up with some revisions to the sign bylaw, or just evaluate it,
Both, I
Both.
think.
possible revisions?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it'll generate to something we bring back here, and there'll be discussion in the planning board.
That's great, thanks for doing that.
Well, be aware, no matter what you do,
Oh, I know.
what we do, it's
gonna-
never gonna end.
That's right.
It's, okay, so
So-
Paul Alice,
You,
Lynn,
yeah, I did, I already talked earlier.
you're all set with that? Okay.
I'm dying to hear about the nuke plant, so what's up?
Oh, that wasn't the last meeting.
Yeah, I know,
That was
but
the meeting before.
do you mind telling me I wasn't here?
There was a person there that spoke, and they were talking about
Impacts?
the potential financial impacts that it's going to have
So-
in the region.
Will it be energy, or were we gonna be short of energy, or?
Well, the reason that they're claiming that the nuke plant's closing down is that the cogeneration is making it so much cheaper than what a nuke plant can right now,
Cogeneration from gas?
from gas.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much what it was all about. Yeah, I mean, there's several different ways that they can do the closure. There's like a quick way and a long-term way. The quick way is actually the better way because people can move on, but the longer way employs more people for a longer time, but when the actual closure comes, those people are gonna be gone and retired,
Anyway.
so, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's more or less everything that you've read in the paper.
Did they say anything about safety or being concerned about the company kind of up and leaving, or?
Well, I mean, I think money is a big issue. Is there enough money in the escrow or in the account to actually pay for the closure, so.
Okay.
But, so I'll tell you about the regional planning board meeting last
Oh, there was
month.
another one, okay.
And there's really nothing to talk about because it all affects towns except Deerfield. There was stormwater with the Millers River that doesn't affect us, and the National Forest Plan that's being proposed from New York to, and Shelburne is actually the last town, so Deerfield and Whately isn't even.
Oh, that's too bad. I never even heard. There's a national forest plan in?
Well, it didn't fly. It didn't fly with the towns that were included. So they're working on something like almost a voluntary basis with buying development rights and things like that. And
Oh, I'd love to hear more about that. Okay, thanks.
so, and the only thing I see from the mail that needs to be brought up is there's a notice of a hearing for a home business permit at 123 North Main Street for I think, is this the one with a cab service, maybe?
There was another one.
Yeah, Celebrity Cab Car Service located at 123 North Street, North Main. I don't even know where's 123 North Main, Raj?
Up there around the school, somewhere
I'm
near
gonna
the
say, yeah,
school.
because the market, John, is 55, so 123 isn't very far up.
It just says the home occupations by special permit, doesn't give a name or anything like that. They're calling it a home business, so.
Does that go to ZBA or?
It says the Board
The
of Selectmen.
selectmen grant that permit
do?
in.
Oh, do they for a home
Yes,
business?
but you
Okay.
can only have X amount of employees and blah,
Right, no
blah.
signs and all that stuff,
Right.
yeah, okay.
And maybe it's just gonna be an office there and they won't park the cars or whatever.
Right, right.
Okay. Anything else, or shall we call adjourned?
No, I make a motion, we adjourn.
A second? Any discussion? Approved?
400.
Okay. We adjourn.